Okay, everyone, I'd like to welcome you to the Parks and Rec Commission meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Would you please do a roll call?
George?
Yep.
Srini? Genevieve? Here. Ritu? Jamie?
Here.
Mike Kelly?
Here.
Kristen? Here. Toby?
Here.
Bill?
Here.
Renee?
Here.
Miguel? Dan? Here. And Molly, John, myself, and Erica.
Okay, roll call is completed. I'd like a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Is there anyone here from the public for public input? Okay, seeing no one here from public input. Seeing no one, we'll move on. Report of council liaison.
Hello all. Just wanted to let you know the Park and Rec Facilities Planning and Implementation Committee is starting to meet tomorrow. George, myself, and some other individuals are going to be at the meeting to kind of get things going and rolling and plan for how we're going to move forward. So that's tomorrow night at 6. Also, the Strategic Planning Committee is we have enough of people to start meeting. There's a couple people still to come on board. But just wanted to mention, like, my hope that the master plan from the Park and Rec, that somehow there can be some form of integration of that, to align it with the strategic plan. So maybe it's something that, one of the chair or someone from Park and Rec Commission can come and just share information about the master plan. I'd been talking to Michelle Leip about that and just kind of hopeful that there can be some alignment with that. Additionally, perhaps outside of my town council role, but just wanted to mention, Molly, I know we have some exciting projects ahead, and even the farmers market coming up, but the Moms Club, I encourage you to apply for some grants with that. I know we just put up our link to apply, and the president was going to reach out to you as well to talk about that, so to help the Park and Rec with their programs and projects.
Are there any questions for Erica? I have one, Erica, for the committee that's meeting for Parks and Rec for the location. Is there a mission statement or a plan? Do they have something to start with that they're going to work from and establish?
Yes. So that was in
the resolution. Okay, and we have that.
Yeah. So in that resolution, it laid out what they're going to do.
I just want to be sure. There's a resolution. I probably already read it.
So I don't know if you remember back in December, I think it was, I had passed out a copy of this resolution, so each of you should have it.
Okay.
And it does outline what the goals are of the committee. And Molly is actually going to be there as well, I forgot to mention you, as the town liaison.
Thank you.
Yep, great.
Thank you very much for your report.
Thank you.
Report from the Board of Education. Report from the Board of Ed. Seeing none, we will move on. Special reports and tasks. Nothing in your end, nothing to report. Report of Open Space Task Force Liaison, George?
Yeah, we reviewed some additional priority properties that we want to include into our master plan. So if any of these areas come up for sale or for development, they have to donate, or they have to, I think it's 50% has to come to the town as either as open space or some type of open space, undevelopable, because if it's not in the master plan, then we don't get that much property. So we're gonna add, I think there's 24 properties that we were talking about. We're gonna whittle that down and try to get these back into our master plan at our next meeting. And that was it.
Any questions for George? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Report of Parks and Rec Director.
Okay, so to start off, I just wanted to say that as of February 28th, we have lifted the mask mandate, as everyone is aware. In the town, it's still recommended, obviously, if you are not feeling well, or if you don't feel comfortable, to not be wearing one. So we encourage in all of our programs respect on either end, whether you're wearing one or not. And then the same goes for our childcare programs, so 4th R and preschool. We're also maintaining consistency along with the town policies. As for sports, they actually just came out with new guidelines as of March 6th, and there's like no guidelines anymore. It was like a one-page document, so they went from like a 20-page document a month and a half ago down to one page saying like, hey, you know, if your return to play is if you don't feel good, follow what the school districts are doing. And other than that, there's no longer any mask mandates. Again, everything is subject to change, as it has been for the last 2 years. But we are kind of rolling in a good direction right now. Our sports numbers among the town, you know, they're still pretty low at this point, but, you know, they're starting to ramp up. We're starting to look into getting back into normal for all of our leagues, which will be exciting. So again, tournaments this summer, larger scale activities. The parents won't have to separate out on the sidelines. So we're really looking forward to kind of seeing the kids back out there and being able to play as normal. In terms of our master plan, so the Crosstown Trail. The Crosstown Trail project is a really slow-moving project at this point. Eversource is a large company, so it takes some time to kind of navigate them and try to figure out, you know, where they're at. We've been working with Barton and Longice since prior to me starting this position, and they have been great about kind of looking through our right-of-ways and having that first trail phase mapped out. However, at this point, we're really waiting for Eversource to approve that application. And once that application's approved, then we can apply for shovel-ready grants. So we're kind of at the mercy of that. Right now, Barton and Longice is trying to set up some meetings with the owners that kind of abut the right-of-ways, because if they don't give approval, then there's going to be some sections that need to be reworked within the trail in general. So we're trying to do that at the meantime, just to kind of move some of the process along. So I'm hoping by the spring, we'll at least get our application approved and we can start applying for some grants. In reality, it's going to take several years to get the whole trail done. I mean, it'll be about $12 million, which, I mean, it's a lot. So we're thinking that we're going to try to get the parts that are towards Nevers Park complete first, because they will be the cheaper portions to complete, and that would give our residents the most access immediately. And then besides that, Rye Street for pickleball and deck hockey. You know, we've been working on that for a while. Hinding is on a state contract, so we're just kind of waiting for our final contract to be sent over to us, and then the start dates of the project will be in the spring, and our parks guys are going to be doing a lot of the prep work in-house as well. So the sooner we can get the ground unthawed and no more snow, then we'll be able to get out there and get the project complete. And then in terms of our next year capital, we've had several meetings, and it's obviously we're in the starting, well, not really starting phases, but in the budget season. So we'll figure out what our final CIP allocation will be. And at this point, it looks like we're really just going to get the $200,000 for the upgrades to lights through the master plan. That's really what they're going to be giving us this year. And there will be also some cold storage for parks that will also come out of the capital projects funding for this year. They are not giving us any more funding for the pickleball and deck hockey, which we've negotiated quite a bit with Hinding John's very good at negotiating. So we've gotten the project cost to be fairly reasonable. But again, this will be thanks to our really talented in-house parks crew that will be able to be taking on a lot of the project. Other than that, for our programs, I mean, I'm very excited. The preschool, the 3 to 5 year old class and the parent-child classes for this past session were at 100%. So they were full. And then, you know, the rest of the classes are at 85% enrollment, which is awesome. I mean, before we were saying that we're at like 50, 60% enrollment, and now we're going back up there in numbers. In 4th R, right now, it's the same. It's been consistent the school year at 200. We will be doing the 4th R lottery this spring in May, so there'll be some more information on that, and there'll be talk about, you know, what our numbers are going to look like and what our capacities can be for next year, and we'll be able to know more around the lottery time. Also, athletic programs, we're going to be finishing up basketball the weekend of April 2nd. We had to push it back just due to several cancellations. Like if there's no school or early release, then we are not allowed to use the school facilities. So then when that happens, obviously we can't accommodate everyone, so it's pushed us back a little bit. But we'll be done on April 2nd, which means that the youth will be going right into their spring sports. So there's not really a lot of break there for them, but that's the way it played out. With that being said, with that finishing on April 2nd, we are going to be offering some open gym time, and this is also because we'll have that gym availability, and then our COVID restrictions have now gone away in terms of masking. So starting the week of April 4th, we're going to be offering a teen open gym for high schoolers on Wednesday from 2 to 3:30, an open adult gym 18 plus on Fridays from 6 to 8, and Saturdays from 10:30 to 1:30, and then a family open gym from 8 to 10 on Saturdays. So that'll all be in Wapping school only. That's really what we can control and accommodate, because we do not schedule the Board of Ed facilities. And we are also still going to be continuing pickleball. They've been going in there 3 days a week. It's over 65 adults. I want to say there's like 72 now. We can't really fit them in our gym anymore alone. So in the fall, we're really trying, besides the pickleball and deck hockey area being done, we're really trying to actively work on getting lessons and utilizing the pickleball crew that comes in, because there's some really dedicated individuals. So we're trying to utilize them for some lessons and to start kind of some leagues and some tournaments. I actually read an article today that said that in NRPA that there was 4 million people that were in this sport. So it's a very fast-growing sport, and it's actually becoming a popular thing for youth as well. So with that being said, I want to start offering some lessons as well for our younger folks that are interested in it. And yeah, I mean, all of our other programs seem to be going pretty well, and we are actively looking to hire for the summer. So if anyone knows anyone to work at the pool, lifeguards, swim instructors, gate attendants, summer camp, we're always looking for some great summertime staff, so we're actively hiring. We would love to see some applications. And then my kind of final thing is that we are going to be mailing out our brochure to the community for the first time in over a year. So that's going to have our spring and summer programs, and registration will begin the first week of April. So we're looking forward to all the new things that we're going to be doing.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Molly. Any questions for?
Yeah, I should have asked Erica also. Are we having an understanding of our school population kids so that we understand what kind of field, get ahead of it, especially the demographic? Is it soccer? Is it baseball?
So, again, I was actually reading the same article we were talking about pickleball. They're saying that the recreation trends, that youth sports are going down across the board, not just due to COVID. I think COVID was a huge driving factor of it. There was a fall in youth sports prior to the pandemic, but the structure of traditional sports is not something that kids are as interested in anymore. So they're saying that they're doing more, it's not structured alternatives. So they're doing mountain biking, or they're doing non-traditional sports as an avenue. and that's what they said their trends are going to go to. They said that in order for us to maintain engagement, we kind of have to offer, they were saying, like, you know, less time within practices or shorter sessions, things like that. So I think that's going to be a trend that we see over the next couple of years. We have to be creative on how we're going to engage in those sports. I will say that it seems as though the only sport that hasn't really declined is soccer so far. I mean, they're even a little bit lower in numbers, but all of our other sports have decreased significantly.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? Okay. Moving on is, seems, you're awfully quiet, John. No report from you tonight?
I know that's unusual, but the first thing I'd like to do is tell you how proud I am of the Parks Department and the Public Works Department. One of the things that we do every year or every other year, is we have training, whether it's CPR, whether it's first aid. Well, last week there was an incident at the town garage where a person had lost his pulse, and we had 2 Parks Department members out there, and they performed life-saving CPR measures on him. They also called one of the Public Works guys. He ran and grabbed the defibrillator, and they were able to revive him. He was taken away in an ambulance, and I am very proud to say that the guys were so in control and so professional, and they just did everything by the book, and it went perfectly. We did have some help with the police department when they arrived, and then the ambulance also, and I'm glad to say that he's doing very well right now.
That's a wonderful story.
So all the training that we do does pay off, and it is important, you know, that everybody learn as much about CPR, first aid, or anything like that if you can. I always say to my grandkids, you need to learn something new every day, and if you didn't, I'll teach you something. So with that, Parks Department's going to be fully staffed as of March 21st. We're going to have a young man start. Matt is going to start on I think it's what's next Monday, whatever the date is, the 16th, 14th. And then Richard will start on the 21st after that. So in a long time, we're going to be up to full capacity with employees, which will be a great thing. The crew's been working on a lot of things. One thing that Molly touched on was Rye Street Park. We have already started at Rye Street Park. As you know, there's a lacrosse wall that was there, and I use the word was because it's no longer there. We did have a company that was going to move it, but we had some problems that came up and they weren't able to do it. But we have talked to lacrosse and we will rebuild their wall. We're just going to relocate it in a different area. The other thing, so like I said, that's done. We're done. We're going to do a lot of work over at Rye Street for the pickleball and deck hockey because the budget's a little lower than we want it to be, but we really want it to be a quality finish, and you know, we want the lights to be there, and we really don't want to take any shortcuts if we don't have to. So like Molly said, we have done some negotiations with the contractor. He's ready to go to work. I think we're going to see a contract from him in the next couple days. He asked me for a couple of the final pieces of information today. He thought he would get it to us by the end of the day tomorrow. So we're going to break ground as soon as we can on that. The other things that we've done, I did send you everybody a picture of one of these signs. This one happens to be the John J. Mitchell Fairgrounds at Rye Street. It's a copy of it. One of the things we're trying to do is we make almost all our signs in-house. Major Michael Donnelly does not have one on the Sullivan Avenue side that we did. That was done through a grant. But we want to try and make the signs a little bit more uniform and a little more alike. So you're going to see a new design at Porter's Hill is going to get a new sign. Avery Gardens is getting a new sign. The John J. Mitchell Fairgrounds at Rye Street is getting a new sign. And we're also looking to do something a little bit different over at the Farmers Market that will help people identify that as a permanent site there. We've been working on clearing grounds and all the invasives and things like that. Like I said, the guys, and I got to also thank Gary Shack from Public Works. He's been helping us with the signs and everything that we do, along with Mike Hanrahan. He's our artist. He does all of the artwork and the painting, and the sign is actually made out of a very thick sign foam, and they put the letters on it, and then they sandblast it, and it gives it a three-dimensional look. So anything that doesn't have the vinyl on it gets sandblasted, and it has like a wood grain background in the background where looks like they hang piano wires over it, and they sandblast it. So like I said, we have a super talented group of people from top to bottom, and you know, but the 2 new guys starting, we're hoping to accomplish a lot more. So, once again, I love to speak highly of my Parks Department because I like to say we're the icing on the cake for the town, so we do a good job, and everybody around us does too. Same with Recreation, good group of people.
Grateful for all of you. Thank you, John.
Yeah, John, I think you guys do a great job.
Thanks.
I don't have any discussion topics. Does anyone have anything that they wanted to bring up to the board for conversation, for discussion? Seeing none, no other business? Is there anything else? Oh, there you go. Is there a motion somewhere?
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn's been made. Is it seconded?
I'll second.
It's been seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you all for coming.